terrain.
Shut up. No! Speed brakes extended!
Hi, this is the Professional Amateur Hour coming to you with another review. This week, I checked out Plane, and this 2023 movie was directed by Jean-François and stars Gerard, Butler, Mike Coulter, and Yosan, and among others, of course. The story of this movie is about this plane with like 20 people on it, and it has to make an emergency landing after being hit by lightning, and so it lands on this island that is controlled by this like rebel militia group, and so they are taken hostage. Of course, not all of them are taken, so there's a few of them running out in the jungle, and so that they can try to be rescued. What will happen though? Well, you have to watch the movie and find out. Alright, so let's discuss this movie. Well, it definitely reminds me of a 90s action film, and you know the type. There's a hostage situation, except one guy is not in the hostage group, so he has to take charge, man up, do some violence, and hopefully rescue everyone. And it plays the same way as well. With this one, I thought the action was definitely good. There is some things I did not expect to see. For example, they have like throat slitting as well. They just like sneak up to some people and like cut their throat. And I did not expect that, from a 2023 movie. Sometimes these things are overly sanitized. And so seeing that, I was like, oh, they're actually like, doing that. That's pretty cool. They also have a few other cool action scenes. They have one where they're like sniping a person through a car, or actually like a bunch of people, and they're just like blowing them away. It's like a sniper with like the highest caliber bullet, so it's just going right through the car and just blowing them away. It's really cool to see. And yeah, so all the action stuff, very 90s, but at the same time, very cool. Also, I thought the acting was good. Definitely Gerard Butler, the leading man in this one. Since you stay with him, you hope that he does a good job. And I would say he definitely does. He's very kind of interesting, very kind of personable character. So yeah, all of the acting definitely works for me and just makes you want to go along with it. There's a few people in here who I haven't seen before, haven't seen in a while, and they all do a good job. So yeah, all of the acting is definitely good. In addition, I did hear that they wanted to change the title of this movie to something else. However, Gerard Butler, he said, no, like, just keep it as Plane. That's the way he wanted it. And so he got them to stick with that name. And it's kind of like a joke name, of course. It's so simple, just Plane. And probably, Gerard Butler's having a laugh on set, just being like, oh, plane, oh, there's the plane. And myself included, like, I was having fun with the, watching experience with this one, because there's kind of like a dull moment or dull whole act in the middle, and so just seeing the plane, I'm there just like, oh, plane, oh, there's the plane. And just, I don't know, some of these movies, it's about the watching experience rather than just what's on screen, and so things like that just, I don't know, and make it so much more entertaining than just a boring kind of action, or at least a boring act, right? So seeing it, just seeing the plane and saying plane every time, I don't know, was just some way I entertained myself. And again, that's part of that viewing experience that is, I think, part of kind of how they made it, for sure. So yeah, see the plane if you want. And that brings me to what doesn't work with this film. Well, with this film, it does, I think, have like an odd feeling to it. It's definitely like a big budget B movie, where they even have like B movie tropes in it as well. From other B movies, there's people talking in rooms, and they actually have a room just full of people talking in this one. They're in like, I don't know, Washington, D.C. or something. So they're, making calls, sending in support, get a helicopter, or at least trying to get a helicopter or whatever there. And so all of that stuff, again, takes away from the action, is put in for filler, but, it's in there nonetheless. And so that kind of creates this odd feeling, this definitely kind of this contrast between, the big budget action and then this people talking in rooms. They also have other things for, B movies. Like they have one character who I don't think you ever actually see this character, but you definitely hear from them. It's one of the other flight attendants. They yell like, oh, Mary, can you get like the back door? And then she just yells back like, oh, sure. And then, you never actually see her. You just hear her voice. I'll clip in one of those moments here.
And once we are down, I will give you further instruction. Maria, do you hear me? Yes, copy that.
So that's this one time you hear from her, but you do hear from her like, I don't know, 4 or 5 different times. I don't think you ever see her, so it is kind of strange that way. But again, all of it adds to like this B-movie quality, but it's a strange contrast with like the bigger kind of budget and everything like that. So yeah, it's kind of this odd mixture, I would say. Also with this movie, I think kind of Act 2 or the middle part is kind of the slowest part. It definitely kind of lulls and is a little bit dull. There's not much action in that part. You know, they're running through the jungle, getting supplies, trying to make a phone call, that type of stuff. And so during the middle, you know, I started to waver in my attention. And so I had to, you know, entertain myself with the plane. But yeah, it's just something that's in there. It's not the biggest thing after all. You know, Act 1 is really engaging. Act 3 is really exciting. So yeah, it is what it is. What else can I say about this movie? Well, for a movie called Plane, it could definitely use some more plane in it. After their emergency landing, they kind of like abandoned it and, you know, start running through the forest and that type of stuff. And then, of course, when they're taking hostages, they're moved somewhere else, right? So they're not even close to the plane. But I think you could have used a little bit more plane in this one. I was starting to enjoy myself, you know, finding the plane, and whenever they had the plane on screen, I was just, you know, oh, the plane, you know, and maybe that's like the whole joke of the whole movie is that for a movie called Plane, there's not enough plane, right? So yeah, it's something to say, I guess. So who would I recommend this film for? Well, if you like dumb, fun action films, this has definitely got you covered. So if that sounds like you, then yeah, check it out. As for rating, well, I have to give it the okay score of 4. And with that being said, I think that's all I wanted to say. So like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.